Hello and welcome along to Mondo Chalivate Movies. My name is John and this is going to be what movies I've picked up in the month of October 2021. Now first of all I picked up Jewel. This is Steven Spielberg's directorial debut, albeit a TV movie, but I'm not taking anything away from it. It's some of these TV movies did sort of lack something, but this is probably the best ever version of a TV movie in my estimation. The print on here is absolutely stunning as well. In fact, sometimes you can be mistaken. It looks like almost as good as a 4K. Really blown away by it. So that's Jewel. Next I picked up Flatliners. This movie is sort of ultra 90s for me. I think the 90s sometimes have a feel for them, a bit like the 80s and the 70s, and this sort of brings out like a sort of 90s flavour to it. I do think the movie is quite a good movie. I haven't seen it for the longest time. I was going to get it from Poundland, of course, and then when you want it from Poundland, it's not there at all. But I did manage to pick it up cheap anyway, so that's Flatliners. Next up, I got Bolt. Now this was one that I saw, and I've been wanting to own it for quite a while. This owns the dubious distinction of being the most scratched ever DVD that I've got from anywhere. I don't have scratched DVDs in my collection, but I do have in this one. I got the Blu Ray. The Blu Ray plays fine. It looks really good, but the DVD must have been the thing played by, I'm guessing, a kid and treated like rubbish. So anyway, I've kept it in there for that. I don't know why I'm telling you that, but I have. So that's my most scratched DVD ever, Bolt, but the movie is pretty good. Next up, I got one of my favourite things of all time. It is Clockwork Orange 4K. Now I'll leave a link in the description down to my video that I did, a couple of videos I've done on this title. I've watched it and it's absolutely stunning. Love this movie, love everything about it. Look, everything about this package as well. So find everything about that down below in the description. But one thing is, if you can find this special edition, please go and get it, because it'd be worth all the money. And I think I've still seen them in HMV for around about £34, which is more than that's a great price for that. But I wouldn't pay extortionate money, which you probably will pay in the very near future if you haven't got one yet. So that's the 4K of A Clockwork Orange. Next up, I got another one that I wasn't expecting, but I kind of bumped into it. This is Robotrix. This is the Category 3 88 films release of this title, and it's stunning. I've got to say, I've watched a bit of it. I need to watch the full movie. I've been trying to get some horror stuff into the month of October. I haven't succeeded that much, unfortunately, but I've watched some good horror movies. Ones I've really enjoyed. I want to talk about what I've watched in the month of October. But this set here, I don't know if it's still around, but wow, what a set it is. And I've got to tell you that the print looks good on this as well, but the movie looks absolutely crazy and nuts, as you would imagine. And yes, so that's Robotrix. Next up, I got, for a decent price of £20 in ACX, the Urban Legends trilogy. Now this would have been a classic one to watch in the month of October, but I'll tell you what, you know when you want to do certain things and all you seem to be doing is working, but never mind. I suppose I can always watch these another thing. I can watch them in November, can't I? But I'm interested to see this movies in general, because I think I've seen the first one a long time ago on Sky Movies. Don't know anything, can't remember anything about it at all. And so yes, so I was happy to get that for 20 quid. I did see the regular version of this in one sort of Blu-ray case for £28. So what's all that about? That's the Urban Legend trilogy. Next I got Hero. Now this is on DVD, but I've got to say the DVD looks pretty good. I will upgrade this to Blu-ray because I saw it. I have watched this movie, or I watched it on Sky Movies in HD, and it was, I'll tell you what, I'll tell you more about that on movies that I watched, but highly recommended. So that's Hero. Next up I got A Quiet Place. I just got the Blu-ray because I know that this will come out when it's all three of them are released. It'll come out in a 4K box set. So I'm just hanging about for that. I don't need to spend a lot of money yet on the 4Ks and then have to get the box set. I'm just going to get the box set eventually. I've watched this movie. I think it's absolutely brilliant. My wife hasn't watched it. That's why I've got it, because I want my wife wants to see it. So I want to get this before, I would imagine Sky Movies would be showing A Quiet Place 2 soon, and then I'll see them, and then we might go at the pictures to see A Quiet Place 3. And yes, so that'll be interesting to see my wife's face on that watch because she doesn't like horror movies at the best of times. Well, she likes them, but she's absolutely petrified by them, which is so funny for me because I don't get scared by horror films, which I imagine most people don't. So to watch her squirming at movies is quite amusing, as well as the movie being great as well. So that's A Quiet Place. Then I got Beat the Devil. This is a Humphrey Bogart movie, and this is presented in a 4K restoration, and I've got to say the picture quality on here looks absolutely stunning. Dying to watch this movie. I'm dying to watch all the Humphrey Bogart movies because usually I would watch these with my wife. We've watched one together and we enjoyed it. So for me, that this has got to be ones that we're going to try together and see if we both enjoy it. But as well, October, our shifts haven't matched up at all. So I think we watched about 1 or 2 films together. But anyway, so I'm pleased to have that in the collection. And just so pleased to get this one, with it being regarded as a classic Humphrey Bogart movie. That's Beat the Devil. And next I got, because of the slipcase, The Dark Eyes of London. Now this slipcase is absolutely unreal. You get embossing there, and you get embossing on the spine as well. You get an amazing picture on the back there. I don't know too much about the movie. I know it's got Bela Lugosi in it, and I have heard good things about this from comments. People are making comments about it. And I'm really excited to see this movie. It's presented by a network as well, who don't really go in for this type of thing. But I wish they would do more things like this, because I tell you what, this slipcase is just absolutely amazing. I like the fact that it doesn't tell you anything about it at all. Now, I knew immediately that was Bela Lugosi, but if you didn't know that, you wouldn't have the first idea what this movie's about. And I kind of like that as well. So that's The Dark Eyes of London. So next up in an HMV sale, I got The Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward with Silent H. And I haven't watched it yet, but I do know that it stars Edwig Fenwick. I don't think I've got her name pronounced right. And also it's directed by Sergio Martino. Ticks a lot of boxes for me. This is an early 70s movie. And yes, I do want to see this because I'm a big fan of this type of movie in general. And I imagine it's a bit like a giallo flavour to it as well. I like Shameless when they do something properly, and this one looks quite a decent release, as well as being uncut, because some of the Shameless ones are cut, usually for animal cruelty, which I can live without. And personally, I do like to get a full version of a movie if I can. So that's A Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward. And also in the 2 for £15 in HMV, I got Flavia the Heretic. Now I was led to believe this is like a nunsploitation movie, but I think it's more like a sort of period drama with, you know, a lot of explicit stuff in it. It is fully uncut, I know that, because I did check these out online before I actually bought it. There's nothing worse when you buy something, you could take it back and you say, by the way, this movie's cut, and sometimes it'll be cut quite a lot. So that's Flavia the Heretic. It's one of those ones that I'm really excited to watch some of these ones. Like this month's been heavy with workload, so I haven't been able to watch as many films as I would. But these would have been the ones perfect for October. So maybe I might push my October spooky month into November to get a few of these watched. So that's Flavia the Heretic. Next up, I got one that I walked past and I thought, I don't believe it, there it is. I thought I would never get my hands on this, and it's a special edition of The Story of Ricky, or Ricky O. Now this is released by 88 Films. It is another category 3 movie, and if you want a violent movie, a violent kung fu movie, then look no further. This is a prison movie, where this movie is set fully in prison, and it's about the sort of what happens in prison, but it's very comedic in a way. It has got some comedy in it, and also is a bit over the top to think that some of the things that happen in here, there's no way on earth that could happen in real life. But I just like the fact that this movie has always been so over the top. And I don't know already, but the extras on it, on the other version, are different to this version, which is great. And also this version here is just got this amazing packaging. That's, for me, 88 Films with these category 3 releases. I hope they release more, I bet they will. They just look absolutely stunning on the shelf. So that's The Story of Ricky, or Ricky O. So next up I got Mutant Chronicles from One Below for £1. This is the type of movie that I like to get, because I would never pay anything like this for a full price, and it wouldn't be one I would levitate to in the shop. But for £1, you think, well, it's worth a punt. It might be a great movie, it might be utter rubbish, but at least you've got a Blu-ray case for nothing. Well, for £1. So that's the Mutant Chronicles. Next up I got the Harry Hill movie. Now, as you can see, I've opened this. So have I watched it? Yes, I have. I'll tell you all about this on what I've watched in the month of October video that's coming out. you might be interested to check that one out. Then also I got, it's one below, I got Woman in Gold. Now, I've seen the trailer for this, actually. I think it was on the trailer for the Harry Hill movie. It was actually on there, so I was quite interested to see it. It looked pretty decent, actually. And what I didn't realise was it's kind of a real story as well. And it's got to do with somebody who survived the Holocaust, I believe, and fighting for some kind of rights to do with something to do with that. It looked quite interesting, actually. It looked a bit different to what I thought it would be. So that's The Woman in Gold, or Woman in Gold. Next up in the Arrow sale, I got Jesus Shows You to the Highway. I remember in my last video I didn't say that right. And I remember watching the video thinking, oh, you've said that wrong. And I like to say them with the correct title. This is a 2-disc limited edition, and I have been told off my good friend Leon from Leon Talks Film that I'll leave a link down to his channel down below. He recommends this movie quite highly, and also he says there's another movie on here as well, which is, if I can see it, it has Crumbs on it as well. He said to watch Crumbs first, so I will do that. And lovely sort of setup this. I did see this one and I thought, if I can get that cheap, I will get it. I think it's only limited about 2,000 copies. Yes, 2,000 copies, so I thought there's no way I'm going to get my hands on this, but maybe it didn't sell too well with it being very obscure. So that's Jesus Shows You the Way to the Highway. What a title. Next up I got Versus. This is another one when I thought there's no way I'm going to get this in the sale, especially with the slipcover, or it's going to be cheap, but this was $7.99. For $7.99 you can't go wrong. And actually Leon says as well, there's 2 versions on here. There's a shorter cut and there's the ultimate cut, and he says to watch the shorter cut first, which I will do as well. And I've been told by a lot of people that this is kind of like a kung fu movie meets The Evil Dead. Now as soon as people said that to me, I thought, this is getting watched very soon. So that's Versus. And next up I got The Villainess. Now I did think that this was a Japanese movie, and I've been led to believe that it's a South Korean movie. And I'm a big fan of South Korean movies as well. You get some really amazing stuff from their cinema. So that's another one that's high on the list. I think my wife would like to see this one as well. So that's The Villainess. Next up for 50 pence, I got The 5-Year Engagement. This is starring Emily Blunt and also Jason Segel. I do like this pairing, and I've seen them in plenty of movies, and I think this might be right up my alley. I have heard that it's a decent movie as well, so I'm glad to hear that. So that's The 5-Year Engagement, the cheapest Blu-ray I've ever bought. Next up I got Parents. This is an offbeat horror, and I think like a horror type movie, and it's I'm glad to get it because it's one of these ones where the Vestron label, they don't seem to be cheap ever, or you don't seem to be getting in many sales. They always seem to hold the price. But when I do see the ones that I do like of this company, I will get them when they come down in cheap. I don't think I would like to pay £18 for them, because sometimes that's what they go for, and you just think, I'm not. Special editions £18, fair enough. Regular Blu-rays, I don't think so. So that's Parents. Then I picked up for £10 if you bought other things, Beetlejuice 4K. Now I'm think I'm going to probably watch this today. Actually, I'm so in the mood to watch this movie. Since I put it on and sort of checked it out, the picture quality in here is absolutely jaw-dropping. So I thought, right, this is one of the ones I'm going to watch soon, especially with it being Halloween. It's the perfect Halloween movie, and so I've got one last day of Halloween to watch it. So I will be sticking this on, I think. But I've got to say that this, if you want a good looking 4K movie, look no further than Beetlejuice. This could be even in the top 10 for me. Not bad. Next up I got The Young Offenders. This is the movie of the TV series. I think it was filmed, well, it's from Cork in Ireland. And I love the TV series. I didn't know there was a movie, so I saw this and I thought, I'm getting that. I don't know if you can get the other stuff even on DVD actually. But I just think that this whole thing, this world, this universe that these two are in are so good. All the people in it are great. It reminds me of another show called Derry Girls, which was another brilliant TV series from Ireland. I love it and I can't get enough of it, and I hope they do another series, which I think they might do, especially because Derry Girls was set in the 90s, which was great how they did that. I know it had to be because there was certain events that happened in the 90s that they wanted to include in the series. So that's Young Offenders. Next up I got, and the more I think about this movie, I'm really glad that I got it in 4K. It is Deep Red or Profundo Rosso. This is the Arrow exclusive version. This is the one that you will get from the Arrow website. It's slightly different to the regular version, with the booklets a different colour. The disc is exactly the same, although it's got different disc art, and I think the post is slightly different. This movie is a masterpiece in my estimation, and I've talked about it in quite a few of my videos. Please, if you haven't seen this movie before, or you get this set, go for this shorter version, which is the export version. Now, I don't know, because the previous Blu-ray of this, the standalone Blu-ray, just a regular one you got in the shop, didn't have the shorter version on. Now, although quite a few people are saying that they didn't like this movie because it was too long and boring, but with a shorter version, it gets rid of all the stuff that you would think was a bit of filler stuff that didn't need to be in the movie. And I just watched the shorter version, which is, I'll talk more about that and what I've watched in the month of October. And I just thought I always think it's a classic, but I thought it's much more of a classic. The 4K in it is stunning, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a different video. So that's Profondo Rosso, or Deep Red. So the last pickup I got the other day was from One Below. It is Amusement. Now, I saw this loads of times in Poundland for £2, obviously. And one time I thought, I'll go and get it. And then, of course, it's not there, is it? And it'll never be there. But it'll be, if you want 50 Shades of Grey, you've got 1 million copies of them. But anyway, so I saw that there and I thought, yep, I'm getting that. It might be rubbish, it might not be. But I've always been drawn to it. Just like the cover. I like things that are that type of, I'm thinking of, the sort of movies that take place in fun fairs and all that type of thing, if that's what it does. I'm really into that type of genre. So, yep, so that's my movies that I watched in the month of October 2021. Really happy to pick most of these things up, and can't wait to watch most of them as well. Hopefully next month I'll get a bit spare time where I can sort of get into this watching these stuff, because I did plan to watch them this month, but the time got the better of us. Okay, so thanks for watching, you take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.